Well, we're back with some more Premier League predictions. Yes, welcome back to the show where I predict every game week of the Premier League. We're on game week 34 now. There's not many weeks left of Premier League action this season, and things are really heating up both at the top and the bottom of the league. We've got a mini double game week here. Not every team is playing twice, but some will be. So let's jump into it. We're going to start off with the Saturday fixtures and Luton Town versus Brentford. Luton Town host Brentford in what could be a relegation 6-pointer. Brentford are coming from the back of a win as they beat Sheffield United in West London. This takes the Bees' form to 1 win and 3 draws from their last 5 as they strengthen their claim for survival. Luton Town are coming from the back of a loss as they were battered by Manchester City in Manchester. This takes their form to 1 win and a draw from their last 5 and sees them sit just 1 point from safety. Both teams have reasons to be confident going into this clash. Brentford are coming back of a win, and Luton Town are playing at home, which always seems to boost them. But I'm going to say 2-1 to Brentford. I am backing Brentford to claim all 3 points in Bedfordshire. Both teams have absolutely been ravaged by injuries this season, but Luton are the team suffering the most at the moment. Luton could see up to 11 players miss this clash, which is not good news for the Hatters. Brentford's injury woes have begun to clear up recently, as they've seen many players return from the sidelines, which is only going to strengthen their claim for survival. Both teams are quite equal in attack, with Brentford scoring 47 goals to Luton's 46. However, the Bees have been far better at the back, only conceding 59 to Luton's 70. This does take Luton's defensive record to the second worst in the league. I can see both teams scoring, but the Bees look stronger, and they look like they're most likely to take the 3 points back to West London. I mean, Luton wouldn't take it back to West London, but you get what I'm saying. And then we move on to Sheffield United versus Burnley. Now this is a massive relegation scrap, as the Blades host Burnley at Bramall Lane. It's a 6-pointer as the bottom 2 sides face each other. Burnley come back with a draw as they share the points with Brighton and Lancashire. This takes the Clarets' form to 1 win and 3 draws from their last 5. It has been a decent run from Burnley as they look to make a late bid for Premier League survival. Sheffield United come back with a loss though as they failed to beat Brentford. This takes the Blades' form to 3 draws from their last 5. It's some vital points for the Blades, but hasn't seen them clamp the league. This match could turn out to be a vital result for each team's survival hopes. I'm going to say 2-1 to Burnley. I see the points being taken to Lancashire. Both teams have not been enjoying good seasons upon their return to the Premier League and have spent most, if not all of it, in the relegation zone. The Blades have been suffering from a fair few injuries at the moment, but even then, results have been up to snuff, and while injuries haven't really helped things, they've not really made things worse either. Burnley have also been suffering from injury woes themselves, but they've seen players return recently. Burnley have been the more prolific side in front of net this season, as they've scored 33 goals so far, which averages about a goal a game. This is in comparison to Sheffield United, who have scored 30 goals this season. Both teams have seemed to have started scoring more recently, but it might be too little too late though. Sheffield United have by far the worst defensive record in the league, as they've conceded 84 goals compared to Burnley's 68. I can't see either side keeping a clean sheet here, but I do see Burnley being the most clinical of the two sides, and I'm backing Burnley to take the 3 points back to Lancashire. And then we move on to Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Arsenal. Wolves host Arsenal in the West Midlands as both teams are looking to make a return to winning ways. Arsenal saw their title hopes take a blow at the weekend as they fell to Aston Villa in the capital. This shock loss took the Gunners' form to 3 wins and a draw from their last 5. Dropping those points saw Arsenal slip from the top as City gained points on them. Are Arsenal bottling again? Didn't they announce a prime bottle and then went on to bottle? You couldn't write it, man. You couldn't write it. Wolves are going to have a draw as they share the points with Nottingham Forest in the East Midlands. This takes Wolves' form to 1 win and a draw from the last 5. This season will remain solidly mid-table, on the cusp of breaking to the top half of the league. This is an important match for the Gunners' title hopes. It would be great for player confidence if they can bounce back after the loss and reignite their title challenge. But I'm going to say 1-1. I do see the points being shared in the West Midlands. I can't see Arsenal bouncing back, to be honest. A similar thing happened last season with Arsenal as they fumbled the title, and I see the same happening here. Wolves have been a decent side this season, and I think they have in them to hold their own against Arsenal. Now, the Gunners have been one of the best attacking sides this season, as they've scored 75 goals so far, which is the second highest tally in the league. And they also have the best defensive record as well, only conceding 26 goals this season. However, they did hold 2 to Villa, so it's not impenetrable. On the other hand, Wolves have conceded 51 goals, so they're not as solid as Arsenal, but it is one of the better records in the league, to be fair. They've also scored 46 goals with Cunha back and firing, so things are looking up for them. He scored a brace in the East Midlands, which, much to my dismay, Wolves are still without Pedro Neto though, who is a big loss for them. But with Cunha back and Juan getting more minutes, it's not as bad as it has been. When those two were out, they didn't look like scoring, but they're back now. Cunha's firing, so they could start scoring goals again, and they probably will. Arsenal are only without Jurrien Timber, who went off in the first game of the season, I believe. Sorry guys, but could end up resting some players with the European football they are playing. But now they're out of Europe, I doubt that. I'm backing Wolves to share the points with Arsenal at the Molineux, and I'm sure we'll see another Saka limp compilation. Alright, and then move on to the Sunday fixtures and Everton versus Nottingham Forest. Another massive relegation 6-pointer this time, in what fans have come to dub the PSR Derby. These two sides have both experienced point deductions this season and are battling away to avoid the drop. This is a very important match for Everton as they're coming off the back of a battering at the hands of Chelsea in West London. This takes Everton's form to 1 win and a draw from their last 5, which has not really helped their survival hopes. Forest are coming back with a draw as they share the points with Wolves at the City Ground. This takes Forest form to 1 win and 3 draws from their last 5, so slightly better form than Everton, and sees them get important points on the board in their quest for Premier League survival, with just a point separating the two. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. I do see the points being shared on Merseyside. Both teams have not been enjoying great seasons, which has been worsened by the point deductions, which they've each received for breaching PSR. That has made each team's goals of Premier League survival much harder. Forest sit a point clear of the relegation zone, but do have a superior goal difference over Luton. Everton sit 2 points clear, with the same goal difference as Forest. So this match will be huge for each side come end of the season. Everton have scored 32 goals this season, but could be missing DCL, who is their second top goal scorer, through injury. Beto isn't exactly a worthwhile replacement. Forest have been better in front of net this season, as they've scored 42 goals so far, but could also be missing their second top goal scorer in Awoniyi. Luckily for Forest though, Chris Wood is in some fine form and leads the scoring charts. Everton have also been better in defence though, conceding 48 to Forest's 58. However, on paper, both teams are looking pretty similar, and I see them grinding out a draw at Goodison. Everton just know how to shut down Forest. It's an unfortunate fact, but Sean Dyche is a Forest supporter, and he just knows how to play against us, man. It hurts, but it's true. Makes for some depressing football, honestly. And then move on to Crystal Palace versus West Ham. It's a cross-London clash as Crystal Palace of South London hosts West Ham of East London at Sellers Park. West Ham are coming back with a loss as they failed to beat Fulham in their own backyard. This takes the Hammers' form to 1 win and 2 draws from their last 5, and it also sees their quest for another European finish take another stumble. Crystal Palace are coming back with a win as they stunningly beat Liverpool at Anfield. This was a very impressive result that saw them claim a very important 3 points. Now, it doesn't fully clear them of escaping the relegation scrap, but puts them in a very good position as the games are whittled down. And to be honest, I can't see them dropping down anymore. I'm going to say 1-0 to Palace. I am backing Crystal Palace to keep the points in South London. I can see the Eagles building on their win against Liverpool as they bring that confidence into this clash. West Ham are expected to be without their top scorer in Bowen, so without him, you know, they really seem to lack firepower. I know they've got Kudus, but even then, without Bowen, they're just a very limp side. He is a big player for them. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for the Hammers. They have scored 52 goals so far this season, but Bowen has contributed to 20 of them, so without him, it's looking a lot different. Palace have been a lot less prolific though, as they've scored 37 goals this season. But they've also conceded less than West Ham as well, conceding 54 to the Hammers' 58. Palace are suffering from quite a few injuries at the moment, as they have been for the most of the season, but they've proven that they can perform without those players, and I'm backing Palace to get back-to-back wins here. Eze is back and firing, and I wouldn't put it past him to score here as well. Or Mateta as well, he's in some brilliant form at the moment. And then we move on to Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Aston Villa hosts Bournemouth at Villa Park as they look to build on their win to further secure Champions League football next season. Bournemouth have come back with a draw as they shared the points with Manchester City at Dean Court. Now United were heavily helped by the referees again though, but what's new? This takes their form to 3 wins and a draw from their last 5. They may have dropped points recently, but are still 9 points clear of Palace and at no risk of being pulled into relegation scrap. Villa have come back with a win as they beat Arsenal at the Emirates. This takes Villa's form to 2 wins and 2 draws from their last 5, as they further cemented their position in that final top 4 spot. I'm going to say 2-1 to Villa. I am backing Villa to keep the 3 points in Birmingham. Both sides are experiencing their fair share of injuries, but Bournemouth looks to be the side that are worse off. Semenyo is one of the players expected to be sidelined, who is their second top goal scorer, which is a big miss for them. Both teams do boast 2 of the highest scoring players this season, with Watkins and Solanke fit and set to play in this match. Villa have scored 68 goals, with Watkins contributing 29 of those, whereas Bournemouth have scored 47, with Solanke contributing 20. So they're both big parts in their team's attacks, and they lead the scoring charts for a reason. Villa have also conceded less than the Cherries, conceding 49 to Bournemouth's 57. Both teams have enjoyed good seasons, but I am backing Villa to give them the 3 points here. They have shown that they're the more clinical side this season and will be riding high after their win against league leaders Arsenal. It's not going to be an easy match for either team, but I do see Villa coming out on top and claiming those all-important 3 points to further cement that top 4 position. And then we move on to Fulham versus Liverpool. Fulham host Liverpool at Craven Cottage as they look to get a winning run going to finish the season strong. Liverpool come back with a loss as they fell to Crystal Palace at Anfield. This takes their form to 2 wins and 2 draws from their last 5. This loss has dented their title hopes as they slipped to 3rd, level on points with 2nd placed Arsenal and 2 points behind City. Klopp's farewell tour has hit a bump in the road. Fulham are come back with a win as they beat West Ham in East London. This takes Scottish's form to 2 wins and a draw from their last 5 and saw them confirm safety for another season in the Premier League. I'm going to say 2-1 to Liverpool. I am backing Liverpool to claim all 3 points here, but I can't see it being an easy match. The Reds have seen their form falter recently, firstly dropping points to Manchester United and then the loss against Crystal Palace, not to mention what happened in Europe. But things are looking up for Liverpool as they look to be coming towards the end of their injury crisis, with many important players finally seeing a return. Fulham are injury free, but do play much better at the Cottage, so it's going to be a very tough clash in West London. Liverpool have been a prolific side in front of net this season, as they've scored 72 goals so far. Fulham have had their moments as well, but have only scored 49 goals so far. Liverpool have also been better in defence too, only conceding 31 goals to Fulham's 51. I can see Liverpool making a swift return to winning ways here, despite what will be a tough match at the Cottage. I mean, it's all they've really got to fight for now. The Klopp quad diminished quite quickly. And then move on to the Tuesday fixture of Arsenal versus Chelsea. Arsenal host Chelsea in a fixture sometimes referred to as the North West London Derby. Chelsea have come back with a win as they demolished Everton at Stamford Bridge. Cole Palmer cooked, and this took Chelsea's form to 3 wins and 2 draws from their last 5 as they begin their slow march up the table. Arsenal come back with a loss as they were beat by Villa in the Emirates, but do still have to play Wolves before this clash. That lacklustre result takes Arsenal's form to 3 wins and a draw from the last 5 as they drop to 2nd in the league, 2 points behind City, but do have a game in hand. Chelsea have really brought the entertainment in this season, and I can see it being the same here. I'm going for 3-2 Chelsea. This may be a very, very rogue shout from me, but I can see Chelsea grabbing a result in North London. I've said it many times, but Chelsea have been very inconsistent this season, but results seem to be looking up for the Blues, and that's a noticeable part down to the form of Cole Palmer. Chelsea do seem to struggle against teams you'd expect them to beat, and then turn it on against those teams at the top, and that's what I see happening here. Arsenal haven't bottled the title yet. They can still win it, but it just doesn't seem that they have the fight in them that you'd expect. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the same as what happened last season, and I see the same happening here. I think after the loss to Villa and their Champions League journey coming to an end, and a possible drop points against Wolves will have left them feeling deflated, and I can see Chelsea exploiting that. Arsenal have scored 75 goals so far this season, which makes them the 2nd highest scoring side in the league, but Chelsea have also been decent in front of net as they've scored 61 goals, but it's mainly been Cole Palmer who's contributed to 29 of those. Arsenal have been a far better side in defence though, as they've only conceded 26 goals so far this season, which is still the best defensive record in the league. Chelsea have conceded slightly more, conceding 52, but despite that, I'm backing Chelsea to claim all 3 points in North London. What a result that would be. Twitter would erupt, but I think Chelsea have in them to overcome Arsenal. I'm not even capping. They have all the potential to do this. And then move on to the Wednesday fixtures and Wolves versus Bournemouth. Wolves host Bournemouth in the West Midlands in a mid-table clash between two sides that have been performing well this season. Both do play at the weekend, but at this current moment, Wolves coming back for a draw as they share the points with Forest in the East Midlands. Bournemouth also coming back for a draw as they share the points with Manchester United. Bournemouth looked good in that clash and would have won it if it wasn't for a diabolical handball call, but I'm going to say 2-2 here. I am backing the points to be shared in the West Midlands. Both sides have scored a similar amount of goals, with Wolves scoring 46 to Bournemouth 47. Wolves do have a better defensive record than the Cherries though, as they've conceded 51 goals to Bournemouth's 57. At the time of writing, both teams' top scorers are fit and are firing, so it should be a good match between the two. Both O'Neill and Areola have got on their respective teams playing good football, but I can't see either team having enough to beat the other. I'm backing a draw in the West Midlands. And then we move on to Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Crystal Palace host Newcastle after they've played some football at the weekend. Palace will be playing West Ham before they face Newcastle, whilst Newcastle do not have a game at the weekend, so they should be fitter and faringer. But a fit Newcastle side doesn't exactly exist at the moment. Newcastle are coming for a win as they eased past Spurs at St James's Park. Isak and Gordon were cooking, as that result took Newcastle's form to 3 wins and a draw from the last 5, and they've really begun to see an uptick in form, which sees them leapfrog United as they claimed 6th place. 3-1 to Newcastle. I am backing Newcastle to take all 3 points in the capital. The Geordies have been very resurgent recently, and as such that's seen them climb the league and occupy a European spot at the moment, and they'll be hoping they retain that spot come end of the season. Palace has been very inconsistent since Glasner came in, but overall they've managed to get points on the board. However, those are mostly from draws. Their win over Liverpool was quite unexpected, but Palace played brilliantly on Merseyside and fully deserved those 3 points. I think with the resurgent form that Newcastle are in, that'll give them some momentum for this upcoming clash and further confidence despite underages they're still nursing. There's still so many players out, but they're getting results on the board when it matters, and that's very important for the team and the players who are still fit. And backing the Geordies to take all 3 points back to the northeast as they further cement themselves in a European spot, or a possible European spot, but a 6th place should get Europe, I imagine, even with our sides going out of European competitions. Ugh. And then we move on to Manchester United versus Sheffield United. Manchester United host Sheffield United at Old Trafford, as both teams are looking to make a return to winning ways. Sheffield United are playing football on the weekend in a massive relegation scrap, so given results go their way, this match could see them lift off the bottom of the league for the first time in a very long time. Manchester United comes back with a draw as they share the points with Bournemouth on the south coast. Manchester United have seen themselves slip from the top 6 and are willing to retake that top 6 spot for some European football come next season and are currently level on points with Newcastle. I'm going to say 3-0 to Manchester United. I am backing United to keep all 3 points in Manchester. As much as I enjoy a Manchester United downfall, I can't see Sheffield United causing a massive upset here, although I would be there for it. Both teams are suffering from a lot of injuries at the moment, but that's been a case for a lot of sides recently. Manchester United do have some FA Cup football to deal with as well before they host the Blades, so I reckon we could see some rotation from the bold man. I think it's Coventry. I'd love to see Coventry do Manchester United, however unlikely that may be, but it's the magic of the cup. Unfortunately, I do have to back Manchester United to claim all 3 points here and further condemn Sheffield United to a return to the Championship, which they'll probably come straight back up to be honest, but you know, the season in the Championship, it's not too bad. And then we move on to Everton versus Liverpool. Everton host their Merseyside rivals Liverpool in what could be one of the last Merseyside derbies for a while, and it's also the last derby that Goodison Park will host, which is quite sad really, end of an era. Both teams are playing football at the weekends, but I do imagine the standings will stay pretty similar, with Liverpool trending for the title while Everton are fighting for survival. This derby has been the backdrop to many brilliant moments in its lengthy history, but I'm going to say 2-0 to Liverpool. I am backing Liverpool to take all 3 points and retain the bragging rights in Merseyside. As I mentioned, both sides have been experiencing very different seasons, and both teams are in dire need of points if they want to achieve their respective goals. In many ways, it's quite a big Merseyside derby, as it's the last for many reasons. It'll be Klopp's last Merseyside derby, Goodison's last Merseyside derby, and it could be the last in the Premier League for a while too if Everton's goals don't go their way. I don't think Everton can offer much to really trouble Liverpool, and that is despite their rivals' dip in recent form, but with the atmosphere of a derby and Everton's fight to stay up, anything can happen. That's the beauty of football. Nothing is certain, nothing is set in stone. Liverpool have been very prolific in attack this season as they've scored 72 goals so far, which boasts one of the best attacks in the league. Everton haven't been as successful though, as they've only scored 32 goals so far, which is less than all but one team this season, and that's the team rooted to the bottom of the league. Liverpool have also been better in defence, if they've conceded 31 goals so far this season, which is less than Everton have scored all season. The Toffees, again, haven't been so fortunate as they've conceded 48 times so far, which, you know, not a great record, but not one of the worst in the league either. Like I said, I can't see Everton troubling Liverpool all that much, and I'm backing the Reds to take all 3 points in this Merseyside derby, and maybe retain the bragging rights for a long time. Who knows? And finally, the Thursday fixture of Brighton versus Manchester City. Brighton hosts Man City at the Amex as they're looking to make a return to winning ways. Manchester City are not playing football this weekend, but do find themselves 2 point clear at the top of the league. However, that could very much change by the time this fixture comes around. Liverpool and Arsenal do have a game in hand over them, which they'll be playing before this, so it could see City, you know, return to the summit or cement their place at the top. City come back with a win over Luton Town as the reigning champions breeze past the relegation strugglers. This takes their form to 3 wins and 2 draws from their last 5. Brighton also aren't playing this weekend. The Seagulls are coming back with a draw as they share the points with Burnley at Turf Moor. This takes their form to 1 win and 2 draws from their last 5, which sees them remain firmly mid-table. I'm going to say 3-1 to City. I am backing City to claim all 3 points. Man City look to have returned to their title-winning form that normally raises its head around this point of the season. Haaland has started scoring goals again, but City have more threat from the likes of Foden at the moment, who has been in some fine form this season. Brighton are a far cry from the side they were last season, But that's partly down to the important players they've been missing, and that European campaign as well will have taken its toll. The Seagulls have scored 52 goals so far this season, which isn't a terrible tally, but does show that they've been less effective than they were last season. City, on the other hand, have scored 76 goals so far this season, which sees them top of the league scoring charts after putting 5 past Luton. I can see Brighton grabbing a goal. City defence hasn't been as good as it was, with them constantly conceding. But ultimately, City do boast the best attack in the league and one of the best defences as well. Brighton have conceded 50 goals so far this season, and I do expect City to add to that tally. I am backing City to claim all 3 points on the South Coast and retain their spot at the top of the Premier League. I think this is the time they retain their English crown, I'm not going to lie. I said it at the start of the season, but I think City have this one wrapped up as well. And yeah, I've been O2GT. Those will be my Premier League predictions. We're really coming to the business end of the season now. It's very, very exciting, but also very, very depressing as a Nottingham Forest fan. Yeah, not been great. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any predictions of your own, please do leave them in the comments below. I do enjoy reading what you guys are cooking up. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.